Hello, I'm Esther Githui-Ewart. It's Tuesday, May 17th. This is Africa 54.
U.S. President Joe Biden authorizes up to 500 troops to Somalia to conduct operations against extremists. Mali's military government says it has foiled a coup attempt led by army officers. And experts warn the persistent drought in the Horn of Africa is due to climate change.
U.S. President Joe Biden has authorized the deployment of up to 500 troops to Somalia to conduct operations against the al-Qaeda-linked al-Shabaab terrorists. This action is a reversal of a Trump-era decision to withdraw the troops, and it comes as the nation's parliament elects a new president. VOA's Anita Powell reports.
Somalia's new president will soon see the return of U.S. forces to the Horn of Africa nation. The 500 elite troops are tasked with pushing back al-Shabaab, a violent extremist group that has destabilized Somalia for more than 15 years. Monday's decision reversed the Trump administration's 2020 withdrawal of all 700 troops then in the country.
The decision to reintroduce a small but persistent presence was made first and foremost to maximize the safety and effectiveness of our force and enable them to provide better support of our partners. Additionally, our partners can benefit from our more consistent support and engagement in addressing the threat posed by al-Shabaab by having a small but persistent U.S. military presence. And while there is risk, it is manageable.
White House officials said the troops would come from nearby bases on the continent. Officials did not say where U.S. troops would be positioned, who their targets may be, or how long troops would be in Somalia. U.S. military and counterterrorism officials describe al-Shabaab as al-Qaeda's largest, wealthiest, and deadliest affiliate. They've recently grown in size and become more aggressive, killing at least 30 Burundian soldiers during an attack on an African Union base in southern Somalia earlier this month. The U.S. public has long been wary of involvement in Somalia after the 1993 Battle of Mogadishu resulted in the killing of 18 U.S. service members. The Pentagon defended the decision.
The point is, al-Shabaab remains a threat, and that threat we assess not only continues but is increasing, and we believe this is the best way for us to continue what has remained a very valuable advise and assist and training mission. It's just this is a better way to do it.
It is not clear whether Somalia's new president, who was elected on Sunday, made this request. Somali security analysts say the move is welcome, especially if the U.S. resumes airstrikes against al-Shabaab, but also say that the military solution is not the only one.
The airstrikes were keeping al-Shabaab at bay, but once those airstrikes stopped, we saw a resurgence of the group. The airstrikes and the offensive operations are not the solution. The solution is really a Somali government that really works on this in a coordinated manner that's societal-wide. The problem in Somalia is a political problem. It's political settlements that needed within the elite. It's a clan problem. All of these things need to be resolved. The grievances that push our youth to join al-Shabaab need to be resolved.
It seems no one is safe. In February, a suicide bomber targeted the presidential villa, killing at least 6 people and wounding more than a dozen. Anita Powell, VOA News, the White House.
Mali's military junta says it has foiled an attempted coup led by army officers and supported by an unnamed Western state. Paul Ndiho has more.
Mali's transitional government thwarted a coup attempt last week led by army officers and supported by a unnamed Western nation. The statement on state television by the Malian spokesperson said a small group of unprogressive Malian officers and non-commissioned officers attempted a coup.
In an unhealthy attempt to break the momentum of Mali's foundation, a small group of anti-progressive Malian officers and non-commissioned officers attempted a coup on the night of 11 and 12 May 2022.
The spokesperson revealed a few details on what allegedly happened. The junta government says the detainees are expected to be handed over to justice. However, their identity and whereabouts remain unknown. Checkpoints are being strengthened around Bamako and Mali's borders.
A Western state supported these soldiers However, the attempt was foiled thanks to the vigilance and professionalism of Mali's defense and security forces.
Mali had undergone 2 military coups since August 2020, when the army ousted the elected President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. In addition, the West African nation has been fighting a jihadist insurgency against groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State since 2012 in the north and the central part of the country. The fighting has also spread to neighboring Niger and Burkina Faso. This week, Mali said it was withdrawing from a West African force fighting jihadists to protest being rejected as head of the G5 regional group. Since January 9th, Mali has been the target of a series of economic and diplomatic sanctions from the Economic Community of West African States to punish the military junta's bid to stay in power for several more years following coups in August 2020 and in May 2021. Mali has broken tradition with partner France and forged closer ties with Russia in the battle against the jihadists. Germany, another European country, announced earlier this year that it would end its participation in Mali's European Union training mission. The decision came 1 month after the Human Rights Watch accused Malian troops and suspected Russian fighters of executing nearly 300 civilians in central Mali. The transitional government denies those allegations. Paul Ndiho, VOA News.
Guinea-Bissau's President Umaru Sissoco Embalo has dissolved the country's parliament, citing corruption and other issues among deputies. Elections are now set for the end of the year. Clara Frank has more.
In a statement, President Sissoco Embalo accused deputies of corruption, among other issues. The tiny West African country has seen frequent political turmoil, with 10 coups or attempted coups since it gained independence from Portugal in 1974. In February, Embalo survived the most recent coup. And assassination attempt. In his statement on Monday, Embalo said the National People's Assembly had defended and protected deputies heavily indicted for crimes of corruption, harmful administration, and embezzlement. It also referred to persistent and insurmountable differences between the National Assembly and other government branches.
I have decided to give the floor back to Guineans so that this year they can freely choose the parliament they wish to have.
The statement said legislative elections will be held on December 18th. Tension between Parliament and the presidency has gripped the West African state for months. The former Portuguese colony of around 2 million people is notoriously unstable and has suffered 4 military coups since 1974, most recently in 2012. 11 people died in February in violence that was described as an attempted coup. Clara Frank, VOA News.
An attempt by one of Libya's rival prime ministers to seat his government in the capital of Tripoli triggered clashes Tuesday between competing militias, forcing the newly appointed premier to leave the city. Residents reported hearing heavy gunfire in different parts of the city, and a column of black smoke was visible. The development underscored the fragility of the situation in the war-racked country. Prime Minister Fathi Bashagha's office said he had arrived in Tripoli with a number of cabinet ministers early Tuesday, 3 months after his appointment to lead an interim government.
The government is about to take over all ministries and establishments in the capital, and we hereby ask all security bodies and relevant authorities to offer the hand of assistance and aid the Libyan ministers to receive their ministries. We confirm that Libyan government is the government of all Libyans across the spectrum. We come with agreement among Libyans, and we will not cut anyone off or exclude anyone. Libya will be built for everyone.
The creation of 2 governments echoes Libya's troubled period of rival administrations between 2014 and 2021, when the country was torn apart by civil war. The severe drought killing crops and cattle across Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia is underscoring the increasing frequency of drought due to climate change. In Ethiopia, the United Nations World Food Programme is not just feeding those affected, but also working to help drought-proof communities for the longer term. Linda Giftash explains from Gode, Ethiopia.
Hawo Abdiwali has lived through many droughts in her 70 years. But until now, she says she's never seen 4 consecutive rainy seasons fail.
There is a big difference. In early years, people used to get more rain, animals produced more milk. There is a big difference.
The World Food Programme is helping her village not only survive the crisis, but rebuild for the long term. These half-moons are designed to capture runoff water when rains return so that grass can grow more effectively and feed their surviving livestock. Forward-looking interventions are desperately needed. Scientists say climate change is the culprit for these more frequent severe conditions.
The climate in this region is driven by what is happening in the neighboring ocean. There are studies that indicate that this is the fastest warming part of the tropical ocean system. So it is warming rapidly during the past 100 years. And this warming, as I said, it is associated with the dryness of the March-June season.
It also results in flooding when the rains do return. These events aren't just examples of climate change, but inequality.
When you compare from the emission level from our contribution to the climate change, it is very uncomparable because most of the emissions are emitted from developed countries.
Yet developing countries like Ethiopia don't have the funds to fight the effects. The World Meteorological Organization estimates that sub-Saharan Africa will need up to $50 billion annually to adapt to climate change. Without it, the number of people displaced and in need of aid will only continue to rise.
We need to build the community resistance to these shocks. And in that line, we want to put more emphasis on these regraining activities, such as half-moons, to regenerate this dry desert area to become a greenland in the future, which can be more useful to both communities and as well as livestock.
Projects like this around the Somali region are showing success and could be replicated to help more people.
We have received good advantages. We're now doing farming and using the grass for livestock as well as thatches for our houses. We also use the water for drinking, especially for the livestock.
While adaptation is crucial to communities' health and survival, climate scientists warn reducing emissions remain a priority in preventing even worse conditions in the future. Linda Giftash for VOA News, Gode, Ethiopia.
West Africa is experiencing unprecedented hunger. The World Food Programme says acute hunger in the region is at a 10-year high. The region is also reeling from the effects of political instability with coups in Mali, Burkina Faso and Guinea, as well as Islamic jihadists in the Sahel. For more on hunger and the soaring food prices in West Africa, I'm joined live via Skype from Dakar, Senegal by Olo Seib, the World Food Programme's West Africa Regional Advisor for Research, Assessment and Monitoring. Mr. Olo, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you.
Update us on what the World Food Programme is seeing on the ground in the countries you have visited so far.
I must say this situation is grave. We have more than 1 million people food insecure in this region. This is the higher number of food insecure people recorded since 2014. And we are talking about women, children, elderly, who don't exactly know where the next meal will come from. And those people we met across the region, they are worried. They are worried mainly for 3 reasons. They are worried because of failed rains, climate change, and poor harvest that was recorded last year. They are worried because of soaring food prices. In some places we have been recently, food price has doubled. In other places, food price has been increased by 50% minimum. So it's not only about imported food, it's both imported food and local produced food. People are worried also because of insecurity. Insecurity is expanding across the region. Initially, it was quite located in the Sahel and in the Lake Chad region, but these days we have seen several attacks in the coastal countries, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo recently. So all these factors are driving food insecurity very high in this region in 2022.
And how is the World Food Programme responding to those in dire need of food in that region?
We are responding in a way that first we think of making sure we brought those people all the anticipatory actions that are required to deal with the magnitude of the situation. We are providing, where possible, cash so that people can buy food in the market to meet their food need. We are also supporting the resilience, building the community resilience, building the systems resilience, so that they will be able to better cope with the next drought or any other shocks that will come on their way. We are also supporting communities, people, women, children in this region to have direct access to their production system, to improve the production systems. With countries, we are supporting the national social protection system. We know that most of the countries in the region are trying to build a national social protection systems, but still the coverage is low. The capacity that are transferring to communities are still low, and WFP and other partners are working to strengthen those systems so that countries themselves will be able to deliver the services their communities, their people need.
Olo, thank you very much for telling us what's going on in West Africa. Olo Sieb is the World Food Programme's West Africa Regional Advisor for Research, Assessment and Monitoring. Be sure to watch Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Don't forget to watch Africa 54 on Wednesday for Paul Ndiho's technology segment. Still to come today in today's health report, Lino Mudu tells us about assistive technology, and we'll have a live report from Switzerland.
Health, wellness, sport, beauty, medical breakthroughs. Healthy Living cares about your well-being. What are the main health concerns in Africa and around the world? Find out the latest on coronavirus. Connect with our experts and ask them questions.
How long does the virus stay?
Join me, Lino Mudu, in Washington every week on Healthy Living, right here on VOA.
The arms deal corruption trial, former South African President Jacob Zuma was pushed back until August on Tuesday by a South African court. Ousted as president in 2018 after 9 years in power, Zuma claims he is the victim of a political witch hunt and has pleaded not guilty to charges of corruption, money laundering and racketeering over $2 billion arms deal in the 1990s when he served as South Africa's deputy president. Zuma alleges the lead prosecutor, Billy Downer, is biased against him, but the High Court and Supreme Court of Appeal have so far rejected any attempts by Zuma's legal team to replace him. Nigerian police are confirming that at least 5 people are dead in a gas cylinder explosion in the Sabongari area of northwestern state of Kano. Elsewhere in Nigeria, the head of Treasury is under arrest for alleged involvement in fraud and money laundering worth 80 billion naira, equivalent to $193 million, according to a statement from the National Anti-Graft Agency. Ahmed Idris, Nigeria's Accountant General, was arrested on Monday after failing to respond to allegations. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says Idris schemed the funds through bogus consultancies and other illegal activities using proxies, family members, and close associates. U.S. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden visited Buffalo, New York Tuesday to pay their respects as the community mourns the 10 people killed Saturday afternoon when a lone gunman opened fire at a supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood. The U.S. is investigating the killings as a hate crime. VOA's Laura Bowman has more.
I once was lost.
A day of grief and horror in America
where mourners marked the death of 10 people shot Saturday at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. Most of the victims were Black. After surrendering on site to police, 18-year-old suspect Peyton Gendron pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder charges during his arraignment in court. In online writings that authorities suspect are his, he declared himself a white supremacist, a fascist, and a Nazi. U.S. President Joe Biden speaking Sunday.
We're still gathering the facts, but already the Justice Department has stated publicly that it is investigating the matter as a hate crime, racially motivated act of white supremacy and violent extremism.
It was a point echoed Monday by the Department of Homeland Security.
It is being investigated, as the FBI articulated, as a hate crime.
The shooter behind these heart-wrenching scenes was reportedly motivated by other killings he had read about on the internet, such as the mass shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2019, where a gunman opened fire on 2 mosques, killing over 50 people. The shooting has frightened and angered many in the predominantly Black neighborhood where it occurred.
I can't go into the grocery store around the corner from my house because I might not get home to my kids safe. That's a problem for me.
The impact that it has should not just be on the Buffalo community, it should be a nationwide impact. We are sending a very strong message that this kind of hate cannot be tolerated. It is not who we are as a city. It is not who we are as a nation.
President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will head to Buffalo Tuesday to mourn with the community. Laurel Bowman, VOA News, Washington.
It's time for Health Report, and joining us now is Africa 54 health correspondent Lino Mudu with the latest on assistive technology. Hello, Lino.
Hello, Esther. Hello, everyone. Hearing aids, wheelchairs, spectacles, prosthesis, and pill organizers are part of a wide range of assisted products that many people rely on to function every day. But nearly 1 billion children and adults do not have access to the life-changing assistive technology they need for their well-being, according to the Global Report on Assistive Technology. The World Health Organization says assistive products maintain or improve an individual's functioning and independence. Assistive technology relates to the delivery of assistive products and services. An analysis of 35 countries reveals that access varies from 3% in poorer nations to 90% in wealthy countries. The new report published by the WHO and UNICEF says the number of people in need of one or more assistive products is likely to rise to 3.5 billion by the year 2050. For more insight on assistive technology, joining me live via Skype from Geneva, Switzerland, is Dr. Clive Ondari, Director of the Health Products Policy and Standards with the World Health Organization. Dr. Ondari, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you.
First of all, talk to us about the importance of assistive technology in everyday healthcare.
Assistive technology is an umbrella term that we use for those products that assist in mobility, communication, and general well-being of many users. They are products that assist people to be able to move, to integrate successfully in communities and maintain their independence.
Okay. Now, the global report on assistive technology clearly presents some evidence that there are some challenges in access. So talk to us about some of those barriers in accessing assistive technology.
In the survey that we did, first time comprehensive data comes together to show that at the individual level, the household level, there are two primary barriers, one being of high cost of this facilitatory products, and the other one being unavailability of these products. But also we see that governments and those who deliver public health support to communities also face challenges in two areas, mainly making these products part of the service delivery and having enough trained people the health workforce to deliver these products to all those who need them in the communities. So we have barriers at the individual level, but we also have significant barriers to governments and those who provide service delivery.
So, Dr. Ondari, where should be the priorities in tackling these issues, given that there are several levels to this and some key steps to improving access to assistive technology in the African region in particular?
Within the African region, we have the African region WHO office working with the member states in the region. They have elaborated a strategy that will address some of these key barriers that we have highlighted in the global report. The framework towards making progress in this area calls for people-centered approach, policies to be developed, and strategies for national implementation to be developed, access to these products with provision for healthcare providers that can deliver these services, and progressively working to deliver these very important products through an integrated way in the health systems. So it's a step-by-step approach, as you've indicated. First, they have to be the policies, they have to be the strategies, and clearly there have to be resources, the funding, and the collaborative way of delivering these products across governments, across various departments of government, with the rightful good governance being in place so that those who need these services, those who need these products, are able to access them quite close to where they live.
And Dr. Clive Ontari, we have to leave it there, but thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for the invitation.
And that was Dr. Clive Ondari with the World Health Organization. And that's our health report for today. Back to you, Esther.
Thanks, Lino. Be sure to watch Lino Mudu's health reports every Tuesday on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Join us again on Africa 54 and watch our programs on VOA Africa website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thanks for watching.